Welcome to Translogic. I'm Jonathon Buckley. Since its introduction at the 2010 Geneva Motor Show, the Porsche 918 Spyder has been one of the most lusted after cars on the planet. It's a supercar that uses plug-in hybrid technology to evolve an entire class of vehicle. Some call it a hypercar, and today we get to drive one. Wow, finally get to sit in my dream car, the Porsche 918 Spyder. So simple, we've got this amazing key which looks like a Porsche. We just slip that in on the left-hand side, and then you have a push-button park brake, hit this little nub into drive, and I believe we're moving. Doesn't sound quite the way it looks, really. When you look at the Porsche 918, you don't expect to be able to hop into it and have it pretty much silent. Right now we're in E mode, or E-Power. It's the default setting that you kind of start off with in the Porsche 918. EPA says 12 miles of range, so it's somewhere around there, and it's basically all electric. You're not getting any help from the engine whatsoever. Then you're going to switch it over to hybrid mode. That's kind of like running regular hybrid. So you've got engine power when you need it. It'll fire up the engine to recharge the battery, or if you need extra power, the computer will let that judge when to switch on and when to switch off, just to give you optimum hybrid performance. In hybrid mode, she's just so civilized. It just putts along. This airfield's a little bit bumpy, but then we have sport mode, and now we have the engine. Naturally aspirated V8, 608 horsepower, but it hasn't actually done anything to the behavior of the car yet because I haven't touched the throttle. But when I touch the throttle, this is what happens. Using predominantly the naturally aspirated gas engine to give you your power, but it's still using some of that power to recharge the battery, and it's still giving you a little bit of power from the battery as well. So this is the mode that you'll want to be in for your high speed run. It'll have the wing up at the back, but it won't have such an aggressive angle on it, so you're not getting so much drag. It's currently in D mode too, which means that the gearbox is doing its own thing. It's deciding when it needs to change gear, when it needs to drop down a gear. But hit this M button on your steering wheel here, all of a sudden, I've got my paddle gear shifter. I can change it down and up as I please. Personally, I always love to do it myself. Then we go one more click and we're in race hybrid. Now this is the mode that you'll use if you're going to the track. You're gonna get the most aggressive angle on your spoiler at the back. You're gonna get all of your power from your engine, a lot of power from your hybrid as well. Well, I can tell you that the driving experience in the 918 is so much more involved. It's kind of like when you see the Formula One drivers heading down the straightaway and they start toggling with the steering wheel. There's different parameters that need to be set. You're gonna have to go from race ready mode through the turns into sports mode when you've got a huge straightaway like something that you would see on the Nürburgring, and I guess that's why this car holds the world record, fastest production car ever around the Nürburgring. And this is where things get really fun. Your hot lap button, this little red button in the middle. When you use that, that's for a few hot laps. It's going to give you absolutely everything that you ever wanted out of this car. All of your horsepower from your engine, all of your horsepower from your electric motors as well. When it comes to the specs of the car, we've got the naturally aspirated V8 in the back. Combined with the electric motors, we've got 887 horsepower, and Porsche claims 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. We're in a 918, we're at an airfield. It'd be rude not to try. Of course, our attempt's going to be completely unscientific. This is an absolute weapon. Holy sh**. When it comes comes to handling, this thing is such a grounded car. It's so low to the ground. I feel like my bum's scraping along the tarmac here. It's so long, it's so low, and then you've got the batteries in the bottom as well, which helps that center of gravity. We've got torque vectoring in the rear axle, but we also have torque vectoring front to rear. So I think it's once it gets over 126 miles an hour, it will actually stop putting power to the front wheels and you'll just be getting it directly to the rear wheels. It comes in a little bit cheaper than its rivals. It comes in cheaper than the McLaren P1. It comes in cheaper than Ferrari's LaFerrari. That being said, good luck getting one because due to the badge, there's only 918 of these being made and they've all been sold. You can't drive a car like this all day without taking the top off. And what that does is amplify that thing. And that thing is incredible. Honestly, there's so much going on in this car technologically that I haven't even addressed how incredible this car looks. It's got this stance which has these great hulking shoulders behind you. Of course, it's all carbon fiber. The interior is just simply stunning. And when you walk up to it, it just looks like the business. This Porsche embodies everything that Translogic is about. We want to look at supercars and now hypercars that are just pushing the envelope of technology. And Porsche have thrown the absolute kitchen sink at this car, and it's created a driving experience that is like nothing else that I have driven before. Our epic day with the Porsche 918 Spyder had to come to an end at some point, and I just can't help but feel like we've barely scratched the surface of what this car is capable of. My only wish, though, is that a lot more people get a chance to experience what we experienced here today. For Translogic, I'm Jonathon Buckley. We'll catch you next time.